So the next concept that really is crucial to growing a successful product is treating feedback as a gift. And this doesn't only apply to product development, this applies to pretty much your entire career in tech as well. So, we're now in an age where it's really easy for users to leave feedback on products. I guess it is a bit trickier for websites, but for mobile apps in particular, it's very easy. And of course, like you launch a product on Amazon. But the thing about feedback, and I think this is probably where a lot of folks struggle, is that a lot of customer feedback, especially the more constructive and negative ones, are not going to be delivered super nicely. And of course, that sucks. Like people don't like having other people be mean to them. But what's important to realize is that underneath, like, that criticism and maybe the negativity in like their, 1, 2, 3 star review, is that there's generally a gift, underneath like all those words, which is concrete ideas on how to improve your product. And this is why I feel like building one of the reasons why I think side projects is like not as hard as people think is like once you kind of hit that momentum, like you have just like 100 users, and this was the case with random name picker, people will just start suggesting like great hole, like they'll point out great holes, like very insightful holes in your app, and suggest great features, and it's just free product management. So like normally in like a big company you need like a paid product manager to like really figure out the vision, especially in a big company, like there's like a trillion ways you can improve the app, so it's very difficult to figure out which one to choose. But like when you're very small, it's very actually quite obvious because your initial users, like they're going to be suggesting pretty obvious things that you're missing or pretty obvious bugs. And like since like when you only have 100 users, each user is one whole percent of your user base, like you can just do what they say and improve the app, and it totally like works out. And yeah, as mentioned before, like I feel like some of the best reviews I've gotten are actually negative ones, like 1 or 2 or 3 star reviews. Because my process for random name picker was pretty much any review that was like 3 stars or less, I prioritized building out what they said in the review, and I would update the app and I'll just reply to them like, hey, I'm sorry you had a bad experience. This feature that you were missing and you really wanted, I built it out. Just update the app to version 25 or whatever, and it's there. And it's yeah, once you get past like kind of the initial negative reaction that you have to people being mean, and you just really just treat their feedback as a gift, I think things become a lot easier, and then your product is gonna evolve for the better at super speed. And kind of the championing this concept of feedback as a gift, I actually respond to the first 1,000 reviews that are left on any app that I build, because those initial users are just so important. Like they took a chance on a product that was not proven. They took a chance on a product that didn't have much signal, didn't have much reviews, and then yeah, they took the time to download it, use it, click through stuff, go through some clunkiness, especially in the beginning. So they deserve to be rewarded for that. And in terms of, so just very tactical advice here, but this also applies to outside of just responding to reviews, managing feedback, is how I prevented myself from being overwhelmed with this process is you want to make sure that the time spent responding to reviews is proportional. So there's kind of two core classes of reviews, and then there's kind of four once you kind of fork each one. But there's reviews where the user put a lot of time to write it, and then there's reviews where the user put in a very little amount of time to write it. So and then each of these has two different subcategories. You have the reviews with that are very short and positive, and very short and negative. So for those reviews, you don't want to spend too much time on them, because it's only fair, right? Like if someone, for example, if someone spends a little bit of amount of time, giving you something or helping you, it's kind of only fair to do the same thing, but you shouldn't make it grossly imbalanced, right? Because that'd be weird. Similarly, if someone spends a lot of time, investing time in you and trying to help you, then you should also invest a lot of time trying to help them and pay them back, right? So like for these short reviews, like nice app, 5 stars, or this app sucks, 1 star, I have a short response. So like for the nice app, 5 stars, I'll be like, hey, thank you for the 5 stars, really appreciate it. That's pretty much all I respond with, and I templatize that. Same thing for the negative one. If it's just like this app sucks, 1 star, I just respond with, hey, sorry, you had a bad experience. Email me at Ember app, well, not Ember app, at my developer email with your problem. So that's also a template. So they have like this 5-second angry review or happy review, and I leave a 5-second response. Similarly, if they leave like a really long response, like a really glowing review, like, this app is amazing. Like I'm a first grade teacher and it's been so helpful. They leave like a paragraph on how awesome the app is. I respond with the same thing. I go like, hey, I really appreciate the feedback you left. Like this is definitely like one of my favorite reviews, and best of luck teaching your class, and I hope the app continues to help you well in the future. I'll leave a multi-sentence, a paragraph response like that for like a glowing good review, right? Because they invested a lot of time to write this amazing review for me. I should invest a lot of time writing a heartfelt response for them. And of course, those are relatively rare. So this is a scalable activity. Like it's really like this responding to feedback thing. The first 1,000 reviews, it's generally something I can do with just 5 or 10 minutes per day. So it's really not a huge investment. It's not like I'm spending like 3 hours per day responding to feedback, which is why like this thing that doesn't scale really does work out for quite a lot at the beginning. And then once you get your first 1,000 reviews, at that point, it's the machine feeds itself. So it'll be getting lots of downloads and reviews without you having to respond to them. But you have to grease the wheels in the beginning. But going back to the long reviews, if they leave a really long negative review, like, hey, like I tried this and I went down to this, and then I was missing this feature and now it's completely broken, I respond with the same amount of time. So I go, hey, yeah, I'm really sorry this happened. That flow, frankly, isn't super well fleshed out for XYZ reasons. Really sorry to hear that. And then I'll even respond before I add the new feature. But like, I'll be working on this like right now, and then I'll update my response like when the feature is out, and then like 30 days later, I'll be like, okay, hey, user, I solved your problem. I'll just update your app to blah blah blah, and it should work now. And a lot of the times, the user responds to that, and they increase the review. So it's just really a good experience all around. And yeah, responding to feedback on my products is one of my favorite things to do. It's just a very human experience, and I think it's a very important skill as a software engineer and just working as in tech, because like these soft skills, like interacting with people, is really hard to learn this from a tutorial, but you can learn it from doing this.
Yeah, this is yet another area where I feel like being a personal indie developer, software project developer, is a huge advantage over a company. I think humans want to relate to humans. Humans want to talk to humans, right? And so when you publish under your own name, like, hey, you're the developer behind this, I think that people are much, much more willing to engage with you, give you constructive feedback, versus if they feel like, you're representing some huge monolithic company. It's so easy to bash that. And I mean, I think this is something that, Alex and I obviously have some experience with, because I think Facebook and Robinhood have certainly been dragged through the mud. And it just seems like no matter what the company does, it's going to be hated. And so I feel like this is a place where, putting yourself out there, it's your name you are the one who published the app. You're the one who made the website. I think it just feels so much better as a user to know that, hey, there's someone behind this app who's actually human and who's going to take the time to reply to me. And the other thing I want to mention here is that building out a project which actually has users is amazing preparation for being a software engineer. And in some ways, I would argue it's even better because of this first bullet point here, which is that when you're developing an app, you're not only the developer, you're the designer, you're the product manager, you're going to wear many different hats. And so if you are able to do this, and I think for most of us, we would love doing it. This is actually really enjoyable to be able to engage with people who take the time to spend on our product. That's like a very fun activity. You are also going to be developing your skill as a product manager. I just feel like there's so much benefit to go around if you take this advice to heart.